Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Ironis Insights. I have a very special guest here, Gregory Mark Hill. He's managing partner and author of Samsara, which I'm sure we'll speak about his book. Thanks for joining us, Gregory.
Oh, it's a great to be here. Thank you, Alex.
I really appreciate you hopping on. We've had some nice chats offline. Where are you calling from right now?
I'm actually out in Tewksbury, New Jersey, which is farmland. My neighbors are horses, cows, sheep's. Pretty nice place to be right now. When I'm not spending
Exactly.
place, when I'm not in the city, it's a great place to be.
It gets you away from the hustle and bustle, right?
Yes, it does.
So, you have a very interesting background, extremely accomplished financial professional, and you now are an author. So, why don't you just give us a little bit about your background, how you got to where you are today, and what got you into your current path?
Sure. It's great to be here. And for your audience, I think the quick 2 minute is come from a small town, Main Street, USA, had the desire to learn and go out there and conquer the world like a lot of people from a small town.
Yeah.
And the next thing I knew, I was at a school up in Connecticut, um, you know, small school, but learning and had every variety of person there, from all over the country, which was awesome. And that experience, made me realize two things. One, I wanted to do big things. I wanted to do international things. And I learned that capital was really energy. This is a good thing. When I viewed it as energy, I was like, I can do things with that energy. And I was thinking, a full tank of gas, I can drive 500 miles an hour. Only have a quarter tank of gas, I can maybe get a little while. So that's how I viewed things right off the start. And the next thing I knew, I went to Wall Street, Silicon Valley. After 10 years of advising people, founders, board directors, C-suite executives of what not to do, I thought I could do this too. And I went out there to build a company of my own as an entrepreneur. And then I fell down because everything I told people not to do, I did. And it was a learning lesson because it's not that I didn't know what to do, Alex. And
Yeah.
for your audience here, I think the important takeaway is that when you are advising and consulting and intermediating the capital markets money, that's one thing. But when you actually have to build your own business, pay rent, pay salaries, satisfy your customers, it's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah,
Um,
you start wearing
I
many more hats, right?
Yes, you do. And you realize that you're not just a founder and CEO, but you're also a parent, a
Hmm.
therapist,
Yeah.
uh, in every way. And people come to you with their family problems, their issues, and those are all important. And then what I found is, and this is important for your audience as a takeaway, what I found is the vulnerability and the empathy, the ability to sit in your client's shoes, your employee's shoes, your partner's shoes, is what actually allows you to understand their motivations and understand where they want to go. And when you understand that, you can direct them and guide them and lead them. And that's the difference between competing and partnering.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more with that sentiment. Especially, being in any type of leadership role, trying to find what motivates your employees or motivates your colleagues, even a team member, right? Um, my softball team that I play with in Central Park, what gets them excited, right? You can boil it down in any different level. I really appreciate that.
I
Okay.
think that's I think that's a great point, Alex, because I played baseball as a pitcher and a third baseman, and then I was in track at undergrad, and I was the MVP. The high
Nice.
hurdler, high jumper, set the records for high jump and high hurdles. Jumped
Oh
six foot
yeah.
nine, 6'9", 8 inches over my head, and then set the high hurdle record. But what I realized, the people on the team that really made a team maybe didn't have the DNA to win as many points, but they made coming to the team outstanding on the bus, on the field, character on and off the school grounds. And so I created an award called the Sportsmanship Award. And today it's the most popular award at Trinity College, the Sportsmanship Award. And so it is about the team at the end of the day. It is about the partners and who you build and grow with. It's a powerful thing.
So how did you pick yourself back up? You mentioned, you had a lot of success doing your consulting for over 10 years, and then you decided to do your own thing. What got you off the ground again?
So what got me off the ground is that when you come from more humble, small backgrounds, frankly, you realize you're going to get knocked down a lot. And when you go from a small town to the big city, the Big Apple, literally, you realize that everyone is there with conviction. And one of the things that I learned early on from my parents, frankly, was if you learn and read, even if you get knocked down, you lose everything, you can rebuild yourself. But you got to have that motivation. And I think coming from small town. I've got a Korean Asian international immigrant mother, and I've got a military father who turned into a business professional. That combination was always about learning and applying the mistakes from those learnings into lessons, and those lessons become wisdom. So it was really about finding that core strength, and it really also came from team sports as well, Alex, to go inside yourself, pick yourself back up, and just say, I can do this one step at a time. There's no other way.
I mean, I played sports throughout my life as well. Baseball, football, basketball. Wasn't really probably big enough to play football or tall enough to play basketball at a professional level, but
Yes.
I had my fun and certainly got my put my time in, and I still enjoy some recreation sports. But the point is that when you are building this team, there's that sense of camaraderie. There's that sense of purpose, right? I can also relate, you know, when I came from a small town. I'm from Pittsburgh originally, moved to New York
Mm.
15 years ago, and you really do just need that. You need the energy. You need that drive. You need that self motivation to get that kick started. Um, because without that, like you said, I really liked what you were saying about, filling up the tank, right? And because that's exactly right. Your motivation and your energy is like it's almost like a currency. It's fuel. Um,
It is. And to jump in and interject, Alex, I modernized that in my book to a cell phone. When you have 100% battery life, life is good. You're emailing, you're calling, you got music in the background, maybe even videos. It's amazing what you can do with 100% battery life. But we've all been at that point. We've got 1% battery life. We're looking for a charger. And of course, that all important call is coming in, right?
yep.
So I wrote this thing, and this is again a takeaway for your audience. There's the four pillars of building a business. And the
Mhm.
first one is capital, right? But when you look at capital in all its forms, capital, human capital, creative capital, artistic capital, in every form of that, you want that energy in every form. People, money, partnerships, ideas, right? Creativity. Then you need, in addition to the capital, you actually need some technology, right? Into the world of today of AI, everybody thinks about technology, but technology in its own right is not a business model, it's an enabler. When you marry that technology with education, with certification, with wisdom, then you can innovate, which is a fancy word for problem solving. So now you got energy and you got problem solving to direct and guide and steward that energy properly and that innovation, that problem solving, you need a team that's outstanding in their field. You need leadership, you need doers, you need operators, you need sellers, you need managers. And then when you have the team that governs and stewards the problem solving with that capital, if you have the ability to apply that all, and this is the fourth center of influence, into the world, society, and make an impact, wow, the value of your business explodes. And as you evolve, your business evolves. And that's really one of the theses around the pillars of why I wrote the book, which we'll get to in a minute.
Yeah. I mean, that's fascinating. I did pick up your book, and I started reading it. I'm excited to get through it.
Thank
Um,
you.
there's definitely certainly some wisdom there.
Thank
Did
you.
I read on your LinkedIn that you just met A-Rod and
Yes.
And Grant
Yes.
Cardone, was that right?
Yes, you're right. So it's a funny story. I had a British friend of mine, and he is the ultimate salesman. He says, I can sell ice to Eskimos, which is a term I love. But the funniest part for him, he's a super salesman because he said, I can sell ice to Eskimos and then melt it down into water and sell that water to their cousins, right? Excuse me. And he sent me an invitation that he couldn't go to. It was a private invitation, and the invitation was literally a gathering of investors and partners from around the country, around the world. And it showed a black and white photo. This was the invitation of an inside of a building saying, we're going to have a meeting with some key players, Grant Cardone, at A-Rod, at this black and white photo. And I knew exactly what it was. It was 48 Wall Street because I'd worked on that floor, but the black and white photo is from like 50 years ago. So I actually sent in a message to this, random email and I said, you need to invite me to this because I know what that picture is. It's 48 Wall Street.
Yeah.
And then I told, I gave my background, of course, and then I got the invitation.
Hmm.
And next thing you know, I'm speaking to A-Rod. He's got two daughters. I have a daughter,
Yeah.
shaking hands. And I asked him what's on his wish list. And A-Rod said, the top thing on my wish list is providing an incredible setting for my two daughters. And
Hmm.
I said, I can completely relate. I've got a 10-year-old. His are a little bit older, um, in college and already out of college. And when you have family that you love, when you have friends that you love, which can be like family, you have motivation beyond yourself. You need that. You need the inside inspiration to pick yourself up and get out of bed, but you need a motivator, which is beyond yourself to drive that. And for Alex, it's his two daughters, and same for me. Grant Cardone talked about being raised by a single mother, right? And he said, any single, guys, folks out there raised by a single mother, and you know how hard that job is. So there's empathy there too. And both those cases, A-Rod, Dominican, humble family, humble settings in New York, even though he was born here, Grant Cardone, they basically took that hunger and that drive and the passion and curiosity to grow themselves, grow their minds, grow their abilities, and then partner with people out there that were greater than themselves in some capacity to grow it. And so I got to meet them both, shake their hands, take a few pictures, ask questions directly, and give them both two signed copies, one for themselves and one for somebody that was important to him. For A-Rod, it's his daughters, and for Grant, it was his close partners. One of them that was his pilot of all things, his pilot for his jet, who's now one of his key business partners. Wasn't that funny? World's funny.
That is insane, and especially that I found it especially interesting that you've worked in this building, doing something completely different many years ago, and then you find yourself back in the same room.
I've got I got a funny story. I have to mention this.
Yeah.
So I just finished meeting with A-Rod and Grant, and I have one final copy of my book under my arm. And I'm walking back across 48 Wall Street, the main banking floor. It's beautiful,
Hmm.
stunning. It's the home of Alexander Hamilton, the founder of the Bank of New York, actually. So I'm walking across, and I see a woman that I had met the night before. And I said, "Hey, how are you doing?" But she had her hair slicked back. And this is a really funny story about New York City and connectivity and connections,
Yeah.
especially for your audience as a takeaway. And I said, it was great to see you last night. That was a super fun talk. And she says, do I know you? And I was like, now I feel awkward. I know we talked for like an hour, but I guess, and then I looked at her and I said, "Oh," I said, "you have a doppelganger. You literally have an absolute double." And she started laughing, asking, it was so funny. She started asking about the ethnic background and makeup of the woman I met last night. Um, and then they both had a similar theme, Italian and Spanish running through them. So she said, I could see that. And she said, what's that under your hand, on your arm? I said, it's my book. I'm an author here.
Yeah.
And she said, what is it about? And then
Hmm.
next thing you know, she is a reporter for Complex Media and Complex Sports, which is 10 to 20 million followers down in Florida. And we did an interview, about my work, about A-Rod, about Grant, about podcasts, about meeting cool people like yourself, Alex, and the book. It was an amazing experience. You
Nice.
never know what can happen. You never know what can happen.
That's the best about New York, man. You don't know who you're going to run into on the street. Even if you accidentally walk into somebody and talk to her like you know her,
Yeah.
ends
Well,
up turning into an interview.
it's so funny because I really think it gets to what's going on in the world of AI and the social media world that we're in.
Hmm.
Um, when people can ground themselves and remain authentic, just be your true self, it's amazing the connectivity you can have. When you're grounded, when you're even just actively listening to a friend who's going through some suffering, they feel supported. And when people feel supported, whether they're a friend, a family member, a business colleague, an investor, a client, even in just active listening, when they feel supported, they trust you. And when they trust you, they share ideas. When they share ideas, creativity is possible. When creativity is possible, building things is possible. When building things is possible, people want to get on board. And you inspire, you lead, and you grow. At the end of the day, this is the important thing for your audience, Alex. Everything that I do, every moment I have, this conversation with you is about expansion. How can we grow our idea, our conversation, and inspire people to expand in every moment, especially the tough ones? Breakdowns lead to breakthroughs when you think about expansion versus contraction. That's what I wanted to share today.
Incredible, man. I mean, just an amazing story you have and your message. Um, Excellent. Thank you so much. Now, if you had, we're wrapping up here, but if you had a magic wand and you could fix something today, anything, it could be in business, in the world, what would you change?
It's a great question. And so, look, I flew into a hurricane and I thought I'd never see my family again.
Hmm.
And that was the inspiration for writing my book, Samsara and Its Impact on the Entrepreneur's Dreams. And I was in the moment where we missed the runway. It's thundering, lightning, pouring. It's like King Kong had the tail of the plane. We're going like this, just like bouncing all around. Missed the runway. It's after 1 a.m. in the morning in small airport in North Carolina. We're running out of fuel. People are crying. There's 8 of us on a propeller plane. The flight attendant is literally 5'1" because you had to bend over to get in that place. She's crying and screaming. I'm like, that's not how you have crowd control. I don't know what's going on here. The pilots aren't talking. We're being whipped around like a toothpick in the wind. And I said, I'm a take charge kind of guy. And this is to answer your question, Alex. I'm a take charge kind of guy. I'm going to go up there and land the plane myself. Oh, I don't even know how to fly a plane, let alone land one. And in the moment, I realized, and this is the key takeaway, I realized that I was not in control. And I shifted from myself and not seeing my family to what can I do to help the people on the plane. And this is what you're reading, you're about to read right now. And I think for your audience, if you could take a magic wand, what would end up happening for me is I would end up meeting a life messenger who would point me to finding a teacher. And along that journey, when you have guides and messengers and teachers that show up, you want to be present to that. And the dynamic is when you actually experience suffering, breakdowns in your search for capital, clients, partners, growth, we get attached to the outcome. We get attached to the result. We get attached to the relationships. And what people are missing is when they get attached to that and they don't get what they want, when they want it, as much as they want, they suffer on the inside. And they carry that negative charge out into the world to every experience that they have. And the magic wand that I would have is when you trade out expectation with appreciation. It's a simple thing. You trade out expectation for appreciation, which means whatever you got going on right now, you're enough. It's enough. I'm enough. When you got that going inside, then the world unfolds. And in that moment, when you realize it's going to be okay, I'm all right, I'm enough, you've stepped into your power and you start to magnetize the world around you.
Hmm.
That's what I would offer. The magic wand is trade out expectation of people and results and outcomes with appreciation for what's going on right now. The world changes. That's the power that people are looking for.
Expectation for appreciation.
Yes, trade it out. Because we look, it's the human dynamic is I did something for you, I bought you a cup of coffee, I took you out to lunch, I drove you somewhere, all these little things, and eventually it adds up and you start saying, "Where's my cup of coffee? You know, where's my lunch? What do you mean you can't take me to the train station? What do you mean you can't get, these things start to add up. And those are the simple things.
Mhm.
But it's when they're bigger things. I was there for you. I invested in you. What do you mean you're not? What happened to my share of the company? Well, I built another company. You're not a part of that. Wait a minute. What ends up happening is we expect certain things. We expect people to behave in a certain way, and that's not the way the world works.
Mhm.
People are busy being busy. Sometimes they're not ethical. Sometimes they're not doing the right thing. But the dynamic comes down to clearing the obstacles that are in the way, which is us. It's you, it's me. We're in our own way. And the reason I write my book is because people fall into the trap of expecting I did this and they are attached to getting something back for it. The world isn't that convenient and that easy. People are attracted to what's going on right now, right? I mean, people are just, down scrolling, doom scrolling, on social media, hit the button, give me an answer. If something doesn't pop up, I'm on to the next, right?
Yep.
Even news, global theater, politics. We forgot what happened last week already. The narrative is always changing. What's now? That's why people want to know what's the news, because news is what's new. What's new?
Yep.
So again, for you and your audience, the magic wand is you trade out the expectation that you think people need to do and that you deserve. That's the
Mhm.
self-cherishing ego, by the way. A
Mhm.
healthy ego gets us out of bed in the morning, gets us to lift weights. You at 4:30 in the morning. That's amazing. But a self-cherishing ego is it's all about me.
Right.
And when it becomes all about me, even when you don't say it, but in your actions, in your thoughts, in your tone, people feel it. They really feel it, Alex, and
Hmm.
it pushes people away.
Hmm.
And every moment, and when I talk about expansion versus contraction, and it's a simple concept, but not an easy one to digest and understand. Every moment you have with somebody, you're either drawing them in or you're pushing them away. It's binary. Every moment, every meeting, every dinner, lunch, coffee, talk, you're either pulling them in. And when people really like you, Alex, they're like, I don't know what it is about that Alex guy. Yeah, he's buff and strong and handsome guy, but I just like him. He's got good energy. There's something about him. I just want to be around him.
Hmm.
And then when people are around you, possibility happens. Opportunities are created. And
Yeah.
that's how you inspire people. The final message I would love to leave behind for your audience and the people that are listening out there is it's great to go out there and change capital into magnitudes, massive amounts of energy, more capital, more growth, more sales, the Elon Musk level of wealth, right? People have a great vision for that. But it's one thing to be attached to the material world of leaving a building behind with their name on it or leaving, having, so many toys to leave behind, but you can't take those with you wherever we're going. The legacy that I want to leave behind is the impact and the influence, inspiration that I've left on my friends, my family, the students I teach at Trinity College, the people I meet in the world in Silicon Valley, New York, Europe, Latin America, Asia. That impression that I leave behind with them in our meetings, from my book, from our conversations, those ideas that they're inspired to go after and create is the ripple effect, which is the legacy I'm living behind. The inspiration is the legacy that I'm leaving behind, not
Yeah.
the material world.
Incredible, Gregory. Incredibly insightful. Um, Thank you so much for joining us today. I think
Absolutely,
I
Alex.
think I think we all can definitely take a point or two from this and implement that in our lives, and ultimately make the world a better place, but also make yourself successful as well, um,
Ex-
both in life and professionally. Right.
Thank you. The last thing I'll share for your audience is when you evolve yourself, everything around you evolves. When you
Hmm.
grow yourself, your business grows.
Hmm.
That's the magic.
Yeah. That's what I'm trying to do right now. I appreciate it. I appreciate it, Gregory. Now, where can our viewers buy your book, and where can they find you?
You can go to Amazon, Gregory Mark Hill. It'll come right up. You can find me on LinkedIn and Instagram, Gregory Mark Hill. Exactly. Samsara and Its Impact on the Entrepreneur's
Yep.
Dreams. It's a rising bestseller, 8 countries. Um, Look forward to meeting and connecting with you and your audience
Awesome,
soon.
man. Thank
And
you
you
so
too.
much. I appreciate it.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Have
Have
a
a good
great
rest of
day.
your day.
You too.